Thank you, Professor Ardelli, for your comments and for your service and the outstanding work you do in the classroom. Palomar's next commencement speaker, Dr. Laurel Anderson, is an assistant professor in the Child Development Department. What she describes as her sincere passion for learning has led her to degrees in liberal arts, sociology, family, consumer science with emphasis in education and marriage and family. Her PhD is in education with an emphasis in professional studies. Even with her numerous degrees, Laurel says she has learned the most from her children and her students. She is especially interested in studying how the community impacts the developing child and has written a book, Dancing in Today's World, that explores this topic. The book was written for Palomar's Child, Family, and Community Child Development course. Laurel has been a full-time faculty member at Palomar since 2011. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Laurel Anderson.
Thank you, President Egan. Welcome. It's an honor and a privilege to be here this evening. Look at you. 2015 Palomar Community College graduates, this moment in time is just for you. And today, after our much needed rain, you make your splash. I grew up in the Midwest with parents who love the out of doors. Our family would spend our summer days in our boat on lakes and rivers around Iowa. On these summer days, my brother and I would sneak our rocks and pebbles we'd collected from the shoreline, and when we would reach the destination for fishing, much to the dismay of our parents, we'd plunk these rocks into the calm waters that surrounded the boat. The initial splash would make a noise and stir the waters. Then we would become mesmerized by the ripples that followed. These ripples would far reach the waters beyond the initial splash. And we noted that although the really big rocks would make really big splashes and be really noticeable, and the tiniest of pebbles would barely be heard, yet the ripples from these splashes were as far-reaching as the others. We noticed that sometimes the ripples from separate rocks would interconnect to form unique ripples beyond their connection. Ah, yes, the ripple effect. Now, what does that have to do with you today? Well, dear Palomar community, today you are the splashes, and you will cause the ripple effects. Your actions create reactions, and the effects are long-lasting. But you ask, how will I do this? Well, in my life, I have discovered 3 ways we can make splashes in our world. First, by being a peer. Second, through mentorships. And third, by being viable community members. So in the next few minutes, I'm going to share 3 short stories about peers, mentors, and communities. First, peers. So let's rewind a little bit of time, and I'll take you back to my kindergarten year. This foundational year was met with both excitement and anticipation, as it was my first year to make real peer connections. After the first couple of months of school, my family relocated. And although this is not an uncommon event for children, shortly after the move, I was also witness to an incomprehensible tragedy. As many people respond to changes in trauma, I became sullen. The simplest tasks, such as walking home from school, became difficult. My fear silenced me. But my fear was acknowledged by another kindergartner named Jim. He reached out to me and walked me home from school day after day. Jim never chided me about my fears, never asked me why I was so timid, always ran ahead to check around corners to reassure me that I was safe, not because he was afraid, but because I was. Day after day, he would calm my worries and guide me through the simple tasks that had become so daunting to me. Because of this splash of consistency and unconditional concern by this peer, gradually I was able to overcome my overwhelming anxieties and make that walk to and from my home without fear. The ripple effect. Now let's fast forward. Enter in an average achieving, overly hyper, attention-seeking third grader. I was a teacher's nightmare. Yet Mrs. Harrison, my teacher, met me with absolute grace and encouragement. She would demand that I redo my messy papers, and she was relentless about learning the times tables. At recess, when I could not swing the bat during our softball games, she would position herself with her hands over mine and practice the swing over and over and over again until I felt confident. When I timidly invited her to my birthday party with all 9-year-olds, she came. One day, towards the end of the school year, she kept me after class and told me she noticed I was making decisions with my friends that were not, well, let's say, socially acceptable. She believed I could make better decisions and I could be a leader that would make positive impacts. Here I was, the hyper noisy student, and Mrs. Harrison decided she saw something beyond that front. She believed in me, and I wanted to grow up and be just like her. My positive experiences with her turned me around and set in motion a series of goals and achievements. Yes, she is my mentor. She gave me direction. The splashes that she made in my life when I was 9 are hopefully reflected in my classrooms today. The ripple effect. Now, sometimes the goals we set for ourselves are met with obstacles, and in many cases, it takes a community to assist us to achieve our goals. I left Mrs. Harrison's 3rd grade with a mission to become a teacher, and eventually I entered into higher education and moved towards this professional goal. Shortly into my sophomore year of college, I met a rather large obstacle. I was hospitalized as a result of the devastation of an eating disorder. This condition caused a pause in completing the professional goals and set forth a need to set new personal goals. I stand here today as a recovering anorectic because a community of support surrounded me. Caring professors, proactive peers, health professionals, supportive parents, therapists, nutrition experts, community organizations, and treatment centers all worked in conjunction to create an army to support my efforts on a road to recovery. Once in place, I had the tools to complete my professional goals. The community and the members in the community created multiple splashes, and the ripple effects conjoined to create a unique outcome for success. Palomar graduates, today you are making a splash. Look around you at your peers. They too are in regalia, and they are both supporting you and looking to you for support. To my right, my esteemed colleagues, these educators are your mentors. They offer direction and inspiration. And surrounding you, behind me, among you, and in the periphery is your community. The members of this community work together to create a body of support as you embark on the new ventures of your life. Today, the splashes become ripples. And some splashes will be really, really big, like today. And others will be very small. But please remember that all splashes have a ripple effect. As we look around our world and we see the effects of positive and not so positive splashes, we watch and we feel the effects of the ripples. Please be deliberate in the splashes that you make. Graduates, your tasks are not complete. Obtaining the certificates and degrees are only the beginning of your journey of making our world a better one. You have peers, mentors, and a community surrounding you as you deliberately make positive splashes in your world. And you too will be support to others. Mentor and provide your community with your resources. You will splash and you will create the ripple effect. Peace, love, joy, and continued success to all of you. Congratulations.
Thank you, Professor Anderson, for your insightful comments, and thank you for the outstanding work you do in the classroom. At this time, I would like to ask the President of the Palomar Community College District Governing Board, Dr. John Halcone, and Vice President of Instruction, Berta Quaron, to come forward.